These two keys come together to form a refreshed version of one of the oldest metal puzzles called the cast key. With this refreshed version, there's a warning, that being, do not bend or pry to solve. And after trying to solve this puzzle for a moment, you can see why you would need this warning. There is a small trick to this puzzle, and no, it's not to use force. The trick is this slide, which may look easy, but it can be tough to find. And for the best part of the puzzle, you follow these moves and a key will pop out. Thanks for watching. This square isn't just for fidgeting. This unique square is a puzzle for adults. Its name is the cast square. If you play around with it for a bit, you can see how it slides open and closed, but something is preventing it from coming apart. Shaking this puzzle lets us hear the twist of the puzzle. It seems like things want to fall apart, but they can't until the first of 3 moves is done. Let's find the writing and set it down with the writing up. After giving it a tap for good luck, you rotate it upwards. Then a little jiggle makes everything fall apart. And now we just need to put it back together. If you look closely, you'll see the AB that forms this puzzle, the name of it being cast ABC. The goal is to get this C piece outside of the AB. If we take the wrong ways, we get stuck. We have to backtrack and try again. As you can see, it doesn't quite fit through that spot, so we have to feed it through the A and then the B. Once it's in the top and the bottom of the B, we notice that it can't come straight out, and so the trick is to curve it. And now you know where the puzzle gets its name. This violin-looking thing is a remade, very old puzzle. There is 3 pieces here that resemble a violin with the stick sticking out. There is a really clean solution to this one that stares us in the face the entire time. This puzzle is impossible to do without the stick being out, so that's the first step. Here we notice that the violin bass piece has to be completely outside of that main violin piece, so we slide it to the left. And it looks like it'll be solved, but it's one of the many tricks that these puzzles play on you. So after we try to slide it out on both sides with no success, we see there's some more space down the neck, so we have to slide everything down that way. Getting over that hump can be difficult as the stick has this special hump running through the violin bass piece. Once we're there, it looks like we're going to solve this puzzle, but then again, we try on both sides and no success. It does, however, look much looser in this position, so let's continue on and see what happens. It does look like there's something very odd with this hump, so if we try to put everything over top of it, we can then just pull it right off. And these last 2 pieces can actually come apart in 2 different ways. But first, we just have to flip it around like this, and the final move is to slide it out at the top or the bottom. These 2 balls in this ring make a puzzle called Loop-de-Loop. The goal of this loop puzzle is to get the ring from the green side to the red side and back. So as you can see, it would be much simpler if the ring would fit through that middle loop, but it doesn't. So we carefully put the ring down and then flip the middle rope over to the right. As we bring the ring up to hold it by the wooden loop, you might even be able to see what we're trying to do. The middle rope is going to catch both the red and the green ropes and pull them through the wooden loop, and you can see it a little more clearly from the back. And once we have the entire mess to the front side of the puzzle, you're going to see something very cool. Looking closely, you can see a little opening with which we're going to squeeze that metal ring through. Once we have that metal ring through those openings, we have to stick everything back where it came. And once everything is back where it came, we just push that metal ring along the rope. And after that's done, we're going to drop the ring, and then we're going to grab the metal rope and move it back to where it was in the beginning of the video. The only thing left to do is some minor shuffles, and this puzzle is solved. See ya. These 2 keys come together to create one of the oldest metal puzzles called the cast key. It warns on the box that there is a trick to this puzzle and it has something to do with a unique spot on both of these keys. That trick is here. It may look simple, but the rest of the puzzle is all rotations and twists, so to have a slide is pretty unexpected. These aren't just 4 random pieces of metal, but they go together to form a puzzle. These gravity-fed stops are why this puzzle is so difficult to disassemble. These pieces all come together to form a square. Now, the first time you solve this puzzle is impossible because of the gravity-fed stops. Once we understand how that works, we can begin reassembling by starting with the top half. Then once the bottom half is put together, we want to swivel it so that these 2 pieces are touching. Now, while trying to keep the grip with your left hand, you want to do the exact same thing to the top side. Remember those gravity-fed stops? That's going to make this a little weird. While holding onto the top with our right hand and the bottom with our left hand, we need to bring these up on top of each other and squeeze them together. Give them a little jiggle and they'll come together perfectly. As you can see, these 2 pieces that make the letters A, B, and C are a puzzle. This puzzle design goes all the way back to 1911. The key to this reassembly is that we need to twist the C into the bottom of the B. Once that's done, we just need to rotate it all the way around until it's in the bottom of the B. At this point, we actually rotate the C piece, and then we just carry it on the top side of the puzzle. And once we get to this point, the only thing left to do is to put it in the top side of that A, and this puzzle is reassembled. These 3 polished pieces go back together to form the shape of a violin. The main rectangular violin piece can go straight over the violin bass piece, which means we need to stick it through both of these pieces. The first step is to get this stick or bow inside of the violin bass piece. Then as we move it up to the head of the violin, we have to flip it around. And now is the challenging part of trying to figure out how to fit that rectangular piece over top and through both of these pieces. That bump at the top of the violin bass looks suspicious, so we're keeping everything up there to try and squeeze it in. That bump is aligned perfectly to allow this rectangular violin violin piece in, as long as it's aligned the right way. And now, as it looks largely like a big mess, we have to get that stick all the way back around to get it back inside the violin base. As we're moving it around, that main rectangle piece doesn't actually quite make it all the way to the left, so we keep it on the right. Just as we bring in the stick, we realize that the orientation of the rectangle is wrong, so we have to flip it all around. And now we can bring that main rectangle piece all the way to the left and then slide in the stick. The next step is to place the stick in the right spot and then let gravity do its thing. See ya.